So, Taiwanese investment has been on a general downward trend since it hit its peak around 2010 to 2011. You know, but 40% is a pretty big decline. So, why did we see such a big drop last year?
If you look into the data, we first started to see outward investment towards destinations that are not China really start to pick up around 2015, 2016, and really eclipse the investment that was destined towards China. And that coincides with a period of realization by foreign companies in general that, for example, manufacturing bases in Southeast Asia were just a lot more cost effective. But in the past couple of years, undoubtedly, it's tied to geopolitics and the risks tied to doing business in China, as well as the fact that the Chinese growth engine is somewhat sputtering at this moment. Foreign investors in general have become incredibly wary of the Chinese market because of the increasingly difficult operational considerations that are affecting their businesses, as well as the fact that policy clarity is just worsening.
So, much of China's 21st century status as the factory of the world has been staked on the success of Taiwanese firms who are invested there. So, what could this recent decline mean for the Chinese economy?
I think maybe there are two things that we can look at in terms of what this means for the Chinese economy. The first is the fact that as the economy becomes a lot more closed off, this has ramifications for trade ties, ramifications for diplomatic relations, cross-strait linkages specifically in general. Are very much bolstered by the fact that economic linkages between Taiwan and China are robust, and that has been a stabilizing force for both of those markets. China's industry is still relatively dependent on foreign inputs. Even its tech sector is still heavily reliant on Taiwanese chips and other intermediate components. And so, if we start to see a fall off in economic ties, specifically trade, but also investments, then there are questions around where can the Chinese tech sector go from here? There is a strong push to replace Taiwanese products and Taiwanese businesses with, say, Chinese alternatives, but the verdict is still out in terms of how successful China will be able to actually achieve this goal.
What could the exodus of investment by Taiwanese businesses mean for those companies?
There's a really strong wave of interest right now among Taiwanese businesses in looking further afield. We're seeing a lot of interest right now in Southeast Asia, but also places like Mexico, given the proximity to the US market. I think a lot of Taiwanese investors are kind of waking up to this idea that as important as the Chinese market has been for their operations over the past couple of decades, it can no longer be the one all end all.